Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah. Hi, Charles.
Hello, Debbie. Deb. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hi.
That's okay. Hey, I would love to talk about Fusion Pro. Wait, do you refer to it as Webinar Fusion Pro? Because I've been calling it Fusion Pro.
Yeah, Webinar Fusion Pro. That's right. Yep.
But I'm trying to restrain myself because I also want to hear about the conference that you went to last week. So I'll leave
Yeah.
it up to you which one you want to talk about. But I will say I was playing with Fusion Pro. And by the way, disclaimer, I'm an affiliate, but that's not why I'm so excited. um, but man, that is really fun. It was hard to stop playing. Not that I don't want to come be with you, Charles, but I mean, it was hard to stop playing in that interface. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and you take it whichever direction.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's really. I think it's a platform. I mean, it's really designed for people who like to market themselves and brand themselves. And not that there's any webinar system that's not that, but I mean, you can create something that's really designed to communicate and really designed for the user, right? And so what we tried to do is to incorporate everything that a user would have in terms of experience. I mean, I think webinar technology, Google Hangout technology has really taken the experience of the person who's on the other side pretty far. So in other words, people have really paid attention to what people are seeing and how you can really give them what they want. So what we tried to do is come to the other side of the table, right? Try to figure out, okay, so if you are actually an entrepreneur, you want to market yourself, you want to do presentations, you want to display something, you want to demo something, what are the kind of things that you would need as a marketer? And really that's all the stuff that kind of went into this and what's going into the development in the future. What do marketers need? What do marketers really need in order to get people not just to buy, but really to kind of connect with them, right? And that's really what video is supposed to do at its best, right? It allows people to kind of really see who you are, and what we tried to do is really, one thing in particular where I can look at a person in their face and I can actually have my slides to the side kind of playing. And so just that little adjustment for some people is big, because it really then I don't have to hide behind my slides. I don't have to be a little guy in the corner, my slides. I can really be right there front and center. I can have my slides and do it almost as if I was doing it, in a classroom.
That's true. I don't have a lot of experience with a GoToWebinar. I got so irritated as far as being spammed by them that I started to block the GoToWebinar because it's there's all this support. I'm going kind of off topic, but it's those pet peeves, they get you, and then but it's like all the support for adding people, registering people, like taking your whole subscription list and adding it into GoToWebinar, and then people get multiple notices per day from multiple marketers saying, hey,
Right.
and I'm looking at going, I only register for webinars like 4 times a year. I know I didn't register for 16 in one day. So yeah, I contacted Citrix on that, and they're like, oh, well, what's wrong with that? You can just unsubscribe. Well, what's wrong is these are multiple marketers, multiple lists, and I'm unsubscribing all day. So yeah, literally, I shut off GoToWebinar because of one issue.
Yeah, and really, the whole thing really is like every other marketing system. I mean, it's really for people who are gonna, I think, really kind of take what I think is the next wave in marketing, is really try to go beyond the sale and try to really say, okay, well, what is it? And I mean, people are using the words like tribe, they're using the words like community, and yeah, I mean, they're overused, but it really is where everything is going. You got to be able, whether you do it on Facebook, Google Plus, I mean, you really do have to kind of get beyond the first sale, and you have to have a people that you're talking to and you're listening to them, right? And they have to have the sense that you're listening to them. And so really, I mean, we wanted to make sure that we got something that would give people the sense that they could talk to their people who are buying stuff, or people who are thinking about buying stuff.
It's interesting. What you said was almost, well, okay, maybe not word for word, but pretty similar. I just wrote the intro part to Eileen Smith and I are writing the book on Triber. She's the expert. I'm a writer. But that was the intro, was even if you don't have any kind of membership in Triber or any tribes or anything, you probably more than likely, 99% of the time, have a community. And you said it, Charles, as far as Facebook. Maybe it's your friends and family that you talk to and share pictures of your dog. You have a community.
Yeah, and it's really kind of almost separating. It's separating businesses that in any space, right? Not just the internet marketing space, in any space, from companies who are willing to at least try to do that. And I don't know if there's a formula where you can say this company's getting it right, because you don't know you're getting it right until people are really talking to you, right? You know, and I don't even think that you can come up with um, a set of rules. Well, this is how you have to build community. I do know that you look at a company like, and I know this is a little bit off topic. You look at a company like McDonald's, who's really having problems, right? Trying to figure out, okay, so people used to run to McDonald's. It used to be a real treat to people. Now it's not, and they're losing money, or they're losing. Their sales are declining. They're trying to figure out, well, what can we do? Well, they don't really never really built a sense that I could talk back to them. And they never really connected, right? I mean, their commercials are traditionally the way commercials have always been. That was their way of connecting. They tried to draw images that would draw you in. But I think companies like that, who are really struggling, they've got to try to figure out how to do what we're talking about this webinar system does, or in general. How do you reach through, whether it's a mobile device or a computer screen or through advertising, whatever the case, to draw us in, so we're talking together, right? If I'm your customer, you have to make me feel like you want to talk to me.
Exactly. I was thinking when you said McDonald's, the commercial, I saw it on Hulu Plus. So that's my basis for commercials. I've gone back 30 years that now they have commercials on Hulu Plus. So, but they have one on Jack in the Box. I don't know if you've seen that, where what was it? Some gal says, "Oh no, this can't be Jack in the Box," and all of a sudden, the character Jack in the Box walks out. I made that, and I was like, "Whoa, somebody's talking to Jack in the Box," and maybe that's what you're saying, Charles, as far as that commercial gives you that sense of, not that I really expect that when I go have my favorite French fries at Jack in the Box that Jack in the Box is going to talk to me, but there is that sense that, wow, he might be here, he might be watching, he might be, he might really care about what I think.
It is, and really, if it's a long run plan, right? And I know that a lot of us in the internet space, by necessity, right? We've talked about this on the show. We have to be able to play the short game and the long game, and sometimes we play the short game because we have to keep a roof over our head, right? So we play the short game and we get the sale, and then we don't really have time to play the long game. And so the long game has always got to be taking the time to invest back into the people who are buying, to try to figure out, okay, well, I'm interested in you, yes, to find out, sort of what you need, and I have to be willing to go beyond what I can sell you. I've got to be able to kind of reach out, or at least give you the sense that I care at that level, right? That I want to know what it is that you really need in order to make your life better. And if I've got it in my suite of tools, whatever I'm selling, I'll sell it to you, right? I'm happy to sell it to you. As a matter of fact, you should buy it from me, because I'm going to make it the best that it can be. But I can't do that if I don't know you, right? And you don't have the sense that I even care, because I know we're still buying, right, products. I know we're still selling products on the internet, and we're still selling information products. I think, though, that the folks who are excelling, I just got off the phone right before we got on the call with a guy who has been operating in the consultant space, and I guess, I mean, he wouldn't mind me sharing his name. His name is Dave Iego, and he's been running kind of unheard of a membership for, I think, almost 3 years, of people who are consultants, right? And so at some point, I think that, I've been on those calls, and in this membership, they basically get on there once a week and they discuss the issues. And you might say, well, you could do that on a Facebook group. I don't even think that the Facebook group is the point. I think those members continue to come to that call because he's been able to develop trust with them, he brings people on there to kind of help them in their business, and it really took at some point a desire to say, okay, it's not just about the initial sales, not just trying to get you to buy into the membership. It's really about trying to help you in your business. And so people continue to come, and they have a community of people that not only talk to each other, but they talk back and forth to the people who are running the membership, who made the initial sale.
I think you really touched on something so key that some of us, I mean, I just spent, by the way, I finished my master's, do my own little shameless plug, but on master's in psychology. It's IO psychology, which is basically business psychology. But a lot of the things that we were studying, you know, us as humans, we're not that complicated. I mean, we need validation, we need hope, we need love, we need relationships, and you know, sometimes we try to get really sophisticated and say, okay, we're looking at this higher issue, when if you bring it down level, and I hear that in what you're describing as far as Dave is really reaching people where they want to feel valued, they want to feel that people care about them, and he's created this sense of community. And I think sometimes we miss it by just a thread. Like, I'll give you an example, and this does go a little off topic here, but the a Twitter chat. Now, I run a Twitter chat, and I try to participate in the operative word is try, other people's Twitter chats as well. And I got into a discussion with someone that we both know, but I will not state her name to protect the innocent, about like, what's the value of the Twitter chat? Is it quantity? And she, you know, she kept saying, hey, it's quantity. You need to have it really, really busy. There need to be 500 people. You need to, you know, break Twitter and, you know, go and jail, the whole thing. And I said, you know, I might be the oddball out. I might be the only person that feels this way, but I actually want less people. I wouldn't say no to having more people, but I've gone into some of these, and I won't name the Twitter chats because I mean no ill harm towards the big ones.
Right.
But you go in there and nobody says hello. Like you say, hey, you know, hello, I'm new here, whatever. Nobody says hello. And you try to tell yourself, well, obviously they didn't see my tweet because there's 20,000 coming out at the same time. But then I spent like the whole Twitter chat talking to myself saying, do they care? Do they not care? It's like, oh, why do you care about not caring? You know, this whole like self-talk circle. And in my own Twitter chats, that's like a big focus, maybe because it does matter to me, where when people come into the Twitter chat, I might pre-schedule some of the basic Twitter chat. There's a little tip for anyone running one. But I try to make a point that everybody that comes in the Twitter chat gets a greeting. So even if I miss it, one of my team members, somebody is saying, hey, we are so glad that you're here.
Yeah, it is, and it's growing in importance, and it's almost as if things have come full circle. And again, I don't think that, which you're alluding to, Twitter is the medium to do that. But if Twitter, see, I guess the power of a community is, right, and I guess we're even talking about this as the webinar system, it has to facilitate, right, and it has to be such that if Twitter, you know, the headquarters exploded tomorrow and there was no more Twitter, would people still be looking for the community? Would people still be looking for me? Would people still be looking for you after the whole thing, whether or not the medium was there or not? Yes, the webinar system facilitates, but you know, it really comes back to, you know, are you providing people value to the point where if they lost it, they miss it? Because that's what people pay for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's key. You know, your question as far as if Twitter blew up, God forbid, but if it should be a tool that helps people connect. But if the community is real and the connection is real, then really the tool shouldn't matter. And not to totally diss Fusion Pro, but I mean the same thing there. As far as if the tool went away, the connection that was made using the tool should still exist.
Right. Yeah. And so the whole system is designed to connect in every way. So, for example, you have traditionally been, since I've known you, you have been not just an expert in video. You get in front of the camera, and so you like delivering video. My preference is, right? My preference is to deliver audio. Not that I don't mind being in front of the camera. It is just my preference. And so.
But you're so cute, Charles.
I know. I appreciate it. But we've got this. But we've got this system for the guy who, let's say, or gal, they just want to deliver audio, and maybe they just want to have slides going next to the audio. And sure, you could splice it together. You could put together a YouTube video where you've got your audio and your slides going together. But there's just some people that are just better on audio. So we wanted to put together what's almost like a, I don't know, a teleseminar a system where you can deliver recorded audio, you can deliver your slides, and you can also have the chatting along with that. So it's more than a webinar. It's almost as if, as you were saying, we call it Webinar Fusion Pro, but it's a little more than that. It's really a design. It's really more of a system to connect, right? So if my preferred method is to use audio and a PDF, and maybe not audio and PowerPoint. Maybe I use the audio and the PDF, and I want those to operate at the same time. I can use this system to do that. If I want to do it live or I want to do it recorded, I can do that. And so we want to take care of the marketer because we feel like the leaps in on the customer side, those will continue. And if we just keep up with on that end, we'll be fine. We want to make sure we continue to kind of give the marketer tools to kind of use them.
Wow. So I could actually sit down and do a pre-recorded webinar like in my bathroom. And by the way, referring to audio, I'm not showing myself in a bathroom on video. I would tell you a conversation that came up between Eileen and I privately. You'll have to ask her because I can't say that on broadcast. But I was thinking about that as you're describing. I'm like, so even if some of us do like getting in front of the camera, there are even more options. Like I can produce more material by using this tool because maybe when I look like I'm half asleep, but I'm okay at talking, I can actually record something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really. Yeah. And some people are just. And it's interesting. I mean, this is another. I don't want to take it on a rabbit trail, but the jury is out as to whether or not audio is just totally dead, and not that it ever was, but people are starting to see with this explosion in podcasting. Well, maybe I'm not so bad. Maybe people really do want to hear from me, and if I just turn on my mic, I can really give people something of value. I don't necessarily have to be on video, and maybe I can't deliver video, but I can deliver audio. So again, it's really coming back to what do I need to use to be genuine, passionate, or whatever you want to say, and really reach the person that really likes to hear from me.
It's good, and actually grow some engagement. That's my. I actually I'm trying to nurture like a mama bear or a little mom nurturing her kids as far as a social cafe. And sometimes it's really hard as a marketer because there are different types of marketers. I mean, I'm not the type that can like a used car salesman, and I'm using that term because we know what that term is, but I actually say that out of respect because people that like used car salesmen, it's like they can sell anything. All they need is 5 minutes with you, and I'm not that type of person. I'm more of the nurturer where it's like really care, but that's hard in a marketing world, and your tool has actually built that opportunity for people that actually whether they want it or not, they can use it to build engagement.
Yeah, and I think back in 2012, 2013, I did a summit for what were considered to be offline consultants or people who were small business consultants.
Weren't we doing the show back then too? Wow, we've been doing this for a while.
We've been doing this for a while, right? Yeah. The basis of it was, okay, so how can we help these people to close more small business customers, these consultants? So we brought in the people who were actually out there doing it, and so the summit. I mean, people loved it, right? But I was not thinking as a marketer, so I wasn't collecting leads for people to come on to the summit. As a result of that, right, and it was a little tricky to do with GoToWebinar. I had to have a script, couldn't get the script to work right. Google Hangouts were not there at that time, so trying to collect leads as people kind of came to watch the program, right, and that's a fair exchange, right? You come to watch the program, collecting a lead would not be a bad thing to do. I didn't have the tools to do it, and so that was really sort of another thing, right? If I can put together something that would be fantastic for an audience, right, as a marketer, I mean, it's only smart for me to collect names and email addresses, collect leads. And so that was another thing. And again, this is for somebody who, as you said, I'm not gonna be selling. I'm not gonna be a great salesperson, closing people on webinars. But if you become part of my community by coming to an educational thing that I put together, I can put together something good for an audience, and that helps me to also have and collect leads and to think like a marketer, and then to be able to, as you said, through email, through future events, kind of nurture those folks to build up the trust so that when I get ready to sell something, I will be able to.
Exactly. And by the way, this is a random question I'm dying to ask, and I should know because I've spent enough time poking on different buttons and so forth in Fusion Pro, which, by the way, guys, if you're looking for a checklist of what to do for a webinar, you don't need a checklist because it's all built into Fusion Pro as far as all the different buttons. It kind of covers everything. But, so the question, is this built on like a Hangout platform, or is it a proprietary platform?
Yeah, it's currently built on a Hangout platform. We are in development to start thinking about developing it on a proprietary platform. That's the next big development that we're kind of working on. But right now, yeah, it's built on the Hangout technology.
Very cool. Well, see, that works really. And this, I'm not saying this as a plug, but for Hangout Queen, I'm like, oh, good. This is a Hangout tool. Because I've seen a few. I'm really trying not to, Charles, because I know that we're having another episode on Web Tools TV where I'm actually formally interviewing you about the product. But I'm so curious about the product. I keep asking you questions, and that's not supposed to be the topic. So how did the conference go on? Was that your official launch? Was that the JV Zoo conference? Is that what?
Well, actually, yeah. The conference was kind of after the launch. The conference was. It was kind of a more of a, because the project was really kind of really been an amazing sort of coming together of a lot of different worlds. The person who had been developing the software has been developing software for marketers, I mean, for a long time. He's just been developing in a space where people had not really been, people who were in our world wouldn't have noticed him, because he's been operating in a space that was probably more for business opportunities. He's been doing it for them, and I mean for a long time.
Is that Dwayne, or is that, because I was looking at I was looking at your team, and some of them look very young. So if they've been doing it for a long time, I'm thinking they started before they were potty trained. No offense to
right.
Okay, that makes more sense if it's Dwayne, because there needs to be that time to it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then Jonathan and Lester, I mean, they've been in the internet marketing space for a long time. I mean, probably over, I think John's been in longer than, over 10 years. Lester's been there for over 10 years. And so they really understand what the product had to be in order for marketers to like it. So they really were kind of central in the development of the product. And I was kind of the person that knew about the two worlds, and so that's really the way the whole thing came together. And we've really been working on. It should have been. You would have thought that this would have just been easy to just kind of put it together and to just put it out there. It's really taken over 4 months to even get it from that point to where it was ready for us to be able to launch it, because we really had to fine tune it to get it ready for people who are going to use it. Oddly enough. We probably have even more development to do to get it ready for consultants who are out there with small businesses, that we can really make it, I think a good tool to use for people who, again, who are not salespeople, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people who are connecting people, right?
I think the only thing, and I probably didn't give it enough time, but you log in, you go, oh no, where do I start? And there is a navigational process, and I'm sure that there's how-to videos that I could watch. I'm really bad at. I'm kind of like where you hear about guys putting together a bicycle, and then there's like extra part. No offense to your gender, but I'm closer to that type where it's like,
my
I'll
wife
just figure it out.
My wife says the same thing. She always says, a man must have put this together. I said, what do you mean by that?
These extra parts, we don't need those. No, I'm more like that. The first door I put back after I decided to take a door off to put like an ironing board thing on, and what did I do? I didn't know they were hinge pins, so I decided to unscrew the whole. I had this door on the floor, and it's a lot easier to get the door on the floor than it is to get the door back up and try to screw that little plate back in. But anyway, that gives you a sense of don't read the instructions, just go do it. I think that's the only tricky thing, but I was very aware, not the door, I'm talking about Fusion Pro again, but when I was logged in, the realization that it's like everything is covered somewhere in this dashboard, and each module seems to make sense within, like the modules for the email follow-up, the registration, everything is where it should be. It's just a matter of, okay, what should I do first? If I want to get a webinar set up in 5 minutes, what's my 5-minute walkthrough process?
Yeah, and what we're doing is starting, I think, April 1st is we're really going to be doing I don't know how else to call it. We don't really have a name for it. It's probably going to have it. We'll probably have a name for it. But it's almost like you can call it a webinar show, where we're just going to walk through different ways to use it in order to, for lack of a better word, in order to make marketers more profitable, right? And we're going to bring on some experts who are using webinars to make their business, more profitable. So, so really, we almost want to make sure that part of the experience in buying the product is really become part of what we hope to be, a vibrant community of people who are using webinars in their business, regardless of what their niche is, right? We love internet marketers. We love the space. We love people who are doing it, right? Because that's who we are. But we want to be able to kind of bring in, people from different walks of life who are doing stuff with webinars and are really successful, so that we can kind of get from them what they're doing, and then we can all kind of be able to use those things in our own business from what they've learned too.
And you know what? The word webinar is almost I can talk. I must be thinking liberal and limiting at the same time. But it's almost limiting, and that wasn't meant as an offense, but when I think of all the things that you could do with this software, obviously you have to come up with a name for it. You can't just call it, the jack of all trades, and people think master of none. But it does so much more than just a webinar. I mean, it's a tool that probably 5 different things just off the, thinking podcast, whether that's a video or an audio. You've got webinar, you've got community, like a town meeting kind of a thing going on. So it really has a lot of different opportunities for a small business.
Yeah, I've been saying that it's not a webinar system. Like when we're in our meetings, I mean that's typically what I'm saying is that we have more than a webinar system, and we want it to be that way because again, we don't want to sell a unit of software. We're really looking for people who want to be, yes. Now at the same time, we don't want to be weird. Like we're not like trying to like you must become part of this cult. You got to do. Yeah, that's not what we're saying. But we want to do more than just obviously just sell the software.
Wow, I want to go play with it and use it I do 3 shows a week, so it's like, okay, I can start using this, especially since it's a Hangout. I can still have the Hangout queen. Wait.
Right, no.
That works. Well, thank you so much, Charles, for sharing that. I know we're going to talk about the conference, but I'm really excited about the product. And for those of you watching, Charles, I don't know if I asked you about the second one. I'm announcing it, so you can correct me. But we have 2 interviews with Charles coming up on Fusion Pro. One is on Web Tools TV, and one is on Social Cafe. So you can watch. I'm doing this off the cuff. Can you tell? Watch the Social Web Cafe Twitter, and I'll announce it there. Or you can also go to socialcafechat.com.
Yeah, right on.
Find out more. So, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Charles.
Oh, thanks, Deb.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
I was going to say same time. Whatever time, next week.
Right.
Same place.